I didn't see that either. I haven't seen that.
I think you probably have it in front of you. There was one in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy, huh?
But, and then what's terrible is the fact that
All that work? 5 people. You have to practice anyway. Right.
Welcome. We're going to start in about 5 minutes.
I'm wondering if Carrie used to do something like TikTok. Like, I'm wondering if it's the original dues thing that some of these are going to come back to. I want to find out. You know what I mean? Maybe she did something to get dues in.
Looking at your back,
I don't know, but it just seems like an excessive number.
No, it's because Tom's standing in front of
You
you.
know, back.
That's
I think so.
But it's not.
I hope so.
I'll give it another 2 minutes or so. We'll start right at 5.
well, a lot of people had to go away to eat lunch.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know?
Well,
So
we didn't know that restaurant.
I almost was going to look up to see if somebody texted, Sarah would text and say, we're going to meet at 1:30 instead because everybody had to go away. Go for one. 1 or 2? One.
Could everyone,
Sit up. Thank you.
could everyone start finding a seat?
Just one?
Clark,
We already signed it.
did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Then pass it to Sean. I don't think Sean did. And I know Chase, Chaz didn't.
Huh?
We all did.
We all did.
Couldn't wait to do that. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Ralph Reese, would you do the flag salute, please?
And justice for all.
Thank you. You all remain standing for the invocation. Jim Speed.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather here this Friday afternoon to see each other and be in each other's presence. We're grateful for the blessings that we have received in our actions, protections that we can afford for our country and our industry. We're grateful for those who have worked to protect us here and abroad. We ask thy blessings upon us this day that we can conduct our business in a manner that's pleasing unto thee, that will be good for ourselves, our families, and our community. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Jim. I'd like to call it Chris for the roll call.
Take this off. Yeah. Roll call. President Dean Wiley.
Here.
President-elect Greg Augustine.
Here.
Treasurer Mary Hernandez.
Here.
Second Vice President Dave Watkins.
Here.
Third Vice President Travis Mickle.
Here.
Secretary Sean Bradley.
Here.
Affiliate Representative Chaz Estrada. Area District Edgar Serpis. Alan Kennedy.
Here.
Anyone else in the Bay Area? Big Valley, Adam Holt. Adam, anyone else in Big Valley? Yes. LA South Bay, Greg Bosch. Andy Marino. Orange County, Ralph Reese. Ryan Whittle. Ryan Prechtel. Fred Rosa. Anyone else in Orange County I miss? San Bernardino, Rob Willis. Ryan Pena. Christine Corneo. Jay Jones. Miguel Diaz. Marty Verstappen. San Diego, Dave Hendricks. Jim Finley. Garrett Thrasher. Gordon Nasser. Jeff Mudd. Greg Larson. Excuse me. I saw Greg earlier. Okay. San Fernando Valley. Saw Terry here earlier. Shasta, Dave Harmon. Jackie. Vintage Coastal, Larry Shork. Larry, anyone else in Vintage Coastal? Nope. Okay. Past presidents, Bobby Gordon, Alan Kennedy Jr., Billy Gaither, Steve Scoville, Joe Gatto, Lee Whitmore, Travis Swope, Mike Bullard, Jim Steed, Tom Graston. Yes, Mike McKenzie's online. I know we saw him yesterday. I don't know if he's here now. Is Carl Doucette here? Okay. Who did I miss in roll call?
He's walking down the hallway. You didn't miss him.
Yep, there he is. I see Alan Kennedy. Larry, good to see you. Perfect. Larry, thank you. Vince Scoville. Vince. Okay. Vince, Janet. You got my phone. That'll complete the roll call. Let me go right to the executive committee minutes. All executive committee members were in attendance yesterday. Approval of minutes by Mayor Hernandez, Dave Watkins. President's remarks. Dean primarily talked about the challenges we're having with our districts. We talked for a good long time about our district support committee, all the activity going on, what our next thoughts and ideas are. We actually met with committees this morning, and we are going to actively be engaging with committees to ensure that some committees who aren't meeting will be meeting here in the near future. Treasurer's report was read. We actually introduced our new treasurer, our new accountant, John Warden, to the executive committee. Talked about sort of the priorities related to our accounting practices and what he intends on doing in the future. It goes to the executive committee report. I talked about in AB 332, the bill that passed regarding treated wood waste. We talked about the challenges related to sulfuric fluoride, which we'll talk about later today. Parts of the decision that I'll talk also about the city of Malibu and what's going on in Ventura County. We also talked about the PCOC building. In the new business, we talked about what will be occurring today. And we also, to sort of finish off the meeting, we had Lee Whitmore in and Paul talk about Pcoc and what's going on there, and talk a little bit about what we're going to do for the reception tonight. So that will complete my executive committee minutes.
Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from last time? Can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Motion to approve, sorry. Who was first? Ralph Reese, second by Harley Trelevin. Right now, I'd like to thank Douglas Products for sponsoring, co-sponsoring this board of directors meeting. I'd like to call up Heather Kern to talk to us for a few minutes. Yeah, you got to turn it on. You know how to do that? I can help. There you go. There you go.
Thank you for allowing us a few moments to talk with you. Basically, just wanted to give a brief update on the situation of the community. We have further and are aware of what is currently going on in terms of the investigation and report out of the federal level. We've been working with industry to support response into the CPA. It did bring us a 60-day extension, which finalized yesterday. So I want to thank everybody who participated in support of comments going into the EPA docket. We've had, I want to say, at least 110 roughly comments that we are aware of from various biking customers, distribution, different associations, and state regulatory agencies, in addition to many. So a big round of applause and thank you so much for everybody's support. We really appreciate that. We are expecting that the proposed interim decision will be made sometime in the first half of 2022. Basically what that means is the EPA will come back in response to all of the comments and whatnot that have been submitted over the last several months into the docket, with their proposed responses. So, Douglas did create a worldwide advisory panel made up of, fumigators within the 3 key territories, so California, Florida, and Hawaii, as well as 2 in the middle part of the country, as well as the association, PCOC being one of them, and NCMA, and also both Ornament there. And so, that was a cohesive group that worked on a weekly basis for about 4 months, looking at all of the different proposed mitigation measures from the EPA, and really putting together thoughtful comments on what is feasible for industry and what is not. And so those were comments in that document that was submitted to the EPA docket in the past couple days. And we will expect to continue working with that advisory panel, and industry as we work through the rollout process over the next period of time with the EPA at the federal level. So I just wanted to, congratulate and thank everybody for their support to us. The participants here in California on the advisory panel, I have to call out specifically, PCOC for the students, thank you very much for your support. Cardinal Professional Crops, John Kingston specifically, the Garrett, Amy Mullen, Quality Pest Services, Steve Whitmore, Your Way Fumigation, Heidi, First Class Fumigation, John Munoz, and Written Pest Management, Brandon Quote. So thank you guys so much for your help and your support, and of course working with you moving forward. And I'm going to close just by really thanking Chris. This man is so wonderful, and PCOC overall. I just very much appreciate, and I know Douglas as a whole, very much appreciate everything that you do to support for us, and just thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, now it's time for my remarks. It's so great to see everybody here. It's been a long time. It's great to see everybody's faces. I think everybody's enjoying being here, and what a beautiful place to be. Usually the president's remarks, we talk about districts we visited, places we went. I haven't done a whole lot of that yet, but that's ramping up here shortly. But instead of talking about those visits, I want to talk about the state of our districts. I have made it very clear that this is an area I'm passionate about, and it needs immediate attention. Currently, we have 4 districts without chairmen, 10 districts without vice chairs, 5 districts without treasurers, 8 districts without a secretary, and 4 that aren't meeting at all. It's pretty clear what we've been doing, even before the pandemic, it's not working any longer. If we can't find a way to keep our districts active and relevant, we will lose our ability to engage with politicians on the local level, which is a big reason why we lost AB 1788. We are already seeing the activists gaining momentum with preemption in Malibu and now recently in Ventura. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of our industry getting walked on. So Chris is getting together with Dale Stern, our legal, and we are looking to write them a letter kind of addressing our concerns. We have a district support committee that Tom Grasson started last year. The committee continues to meet. We are exploring and sharing ideas on how to revitalize our districts. Currently, we're looking at such things as do we need 18 districts? Maybe we need to combine our districts to regions. We talked yesterday in our executive committee meeting about the executives overseeing the regions, mentoring them, making them accountable. Do we need to meet monthly? CEUs are easily obtained online now, and members don't need to come to a meeting to get them. We need to also reach an audience, I believe, of the ages anywhere from 25 to 34 because they're our future. Please feel free to reach out to me or anyone on that committee with thoughts on this suggestion. And the committee members are Chair David Heinrichs, Dave Watkins, Travis Mickle, Tom Graston, Chris Reardon, and myself. And lastly, we recently had a death in Fumigation, and that particular company had no work comp insurance. Currently, there are no requirements with the Structural Pest Control Board to have workers' comp insurance. In my opinion, not having workers' comp insurance is a threat to the consumer, and that's the board's job, is to protect them. Not to mention, not carrying work comp gives them an unfair price advantage. I want to work with Dom and Chris and Max to write legislation this year to end that. And Chris will be talking about that in his report as well. You guys have any questions for me? Thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Nate Tamales from Viserys for being a co-sponsor today. Nate, are you in the crowd? Oh. It's his twin, Gabe. He threw me a curveball. He told me he'd be here.
Good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, Nate couldn't be here. He's got to put out a couple fires. He's getting ready to go to Austin here pretty soon. So a few things. So if you guys can take his place for a moment. My name is Gabriel. I work here in San Diego. And I cover the San Diego territory now. But that from our views, let's get that guy. I don't think a lot of people can get him. So yeah, I think it'd be like art. I hope so. One of these days. Like all games, I'm still hitting the 100, so get there. So just real quick, I just want to say thank you to the industry as a whole for your patience with the Viserys, because it's been an uphill battle for us with our ERP system. It took place April 1 of this year. Our CSRs, our management, our outside sales reps, everyone just wants to say thank you to you, because you help keep us going. We know there's been a lot of issues here and there with logistics and supply chain, things like that. But it's getting better. Our CSR are getting better. Our ERP system, we are getting better at implementing orders and getting things going. We just have a huge there. We got 2 of our trucks, trucks on the road with our own drivers, not 3PL. So a lot of great things are starting to happen, and we just want to say thank you for your patience with us. You know, that's super frustrating. It's no fun to go through that, but it is what it is, and we're just glad to have you with our support. With that, I also want to stop bringing up that I'm grateful for the work that's been going on in regards to our service supplies. A lot of you don't want to see things go back in the pipeline. If you've ever worked on those or had the joy of working on those, we don't want to see those types of things come back unless something changes. So really do our best right now to hold on to our service devices. So thank you for all the hard work that you've all done, and we're appreciative of that particular industry. So just to give you a quick heads up about Viserys, we closed a lot of branches throughout California and reopened others. So we closed National Cities that have been around since probably the 50s. We closed Vista. It was the support for our fumigation partners. And we opened up San Diego
Thanks, Gabe. I'd like to call Chris for the EVP report.
Good afternoon. I saw a lot of you last night, didn't I, at a certain restaurant that we took over, kind of, particularly those guys back there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, welcome, everybody. I can't tell you how nice it is to see all of you. And it is just terrific to, last night and today, it just sort of feels normal again. I don't know about you, but just feels normal again, which is absolutely great. I first want to start off with just a couple of acknowledgements. We have some folks here that are going to have to leave. One of them is our longtime friend, Dominic DeMar. I know, Dom, you're going to have to leave in a little bit, I know. But please acknowledge him. Does a terrific job for us. He's been with us for a long time. Max Perry, his right-hand man. Max is going to stay, and he's going to be with us later as well, too, because we're going to hear from Max later, actually earlier this evening in our reception. But just want to acknowledge Dom. Great to always see you, and does this absolutely tremendous job, him and Max, first. So just want to acknowledge Dominic. Jim Fredericks, MPMA. Jim is, by the way, we're going to hear from Jim later tonight, too, at our reception. But just wanted, he flew out here from Washington, D.C. to talk about all the challenges related in our regulatory world, particularly sulfur fluoride, Jim. Really appreciate you coming out. We depend on him in Washington, D.C., so we appreciate very much what you do. So kudos to Jim. And also I want to acknowledge, these events just don't happen, by chance. There's a lot of work that's done into it. And Sarah Conrad, tremendous job. None of this happens without Sarah. Great stuff, as usual. So just 3 quick acknowledgements. There actually has been, while it might seem quiet, there's COVID and everything else going on, we've actually had sort of a busy time over the last probably 6 weeks. First off, some good news, AB 332, the issue of treated wood waste. That was our priority for this year. The good news is there's not one single opposition vote. The governor signed it about a month ago without any fanfare, which allows us to go back to bringing treated wood waste to local landfills. Now, I talked to the Department of Toxic Substance Control about 2 weeks ago, and they indicated for those of you who are taking treated wood waste, who did to local landfills, you can again, but make sure they told me to tell you this, to make sure you're calling those landfills ahead of time, because some are preparing to do it, and it's going to take a little time to do that. So for those of you who are going to engage again in bringing that material to landfills, we are back in business again. So appreciate Garrett Thrasher. Garrett brought this to my attention. I know some counties were a little more stringent than others, and I think also DTSC, as a regulatory agency, was very concerned about where this material was going. And they weren't certain where it was going because certain people were just paying and taking it away. So problem solved, and that is good news. The other issue that Dean actually mentioned on Malibu, and I talked a little bit earlier, but this has a little more urgency for this association. About a month, well, actually in May, the city of Malibu, along with the California Coastal Commission, for the first time made a determination that under the Coastal Commission guidelines, okay, they can allow the restrictions of certain pesticides within their jurisdiction, meaning the California Coastal Commission, if it has impact on sensitive habitat. Well, as you know, that was, once we start getting down that road, it gets into the whole issue of preemption, when you can use it, who's going to decide to use it. And there was a court case filed by the Los Angeles County against the Coastal Commission decision and the City of Malibu decision. And the Superior Court said, in fact, you could do that. So subsequent to that, Ventura County Planning Commission decided that they also were going to make a determination about restricting use in Ventura County within the Coastal Commission guidelines. However, it appears that they are going to expand on the issue of not only new development, but also existing development in certain parameters. It's not clear to me when you read, by the way, I listened to the hearing, but we, in our meeting, the legislative committee meeting, say, yes, Dale Stern will be drafting language for us Yes, we're going to get a coalition on that letter, but to be candid with you folks, I think we need to engage almost immediately about the direction we're going to go with, meaning activity, notifying Ventura County Board of Supervisor members, letters, activity, relatively urgently. So we're going to get a legal interpretation. Dale's working on a legal interpretation as we speak. We'll know a little more next week. But I will tell you, our concern is if this passes in Ventura County, is Santa Barbara County next, is Monterey County next, is Marin County next, is San Mateo County next. So, folks, we can't wait around. This is urgent business for our associates, urgent business. Because then we get into the whole issue of preemption about dictating what products we can use at the local level, even though it's a responsibility of the state. So we will fully keep you informed. I raised this issue today because we're gonna start ringing the bell. And you might see stuff coming out about where we might need your active involvement in terms of contacts. We're gonna be looking to those you in Ventura County too. We're gonna be identifying our Ventura County members to, be actively engaged in this activity. And we're also gonna be talking with Dom and Max regarding, our representatives that legislative representative that area as well. So we just can't sit here. We understand what happened in Malibu, and yes, it was aimed at us. But candidly, we can't wait anymore. We're gonna have to go on the record. We're gonna have to engage actively because I happen to believe the more they do this, the more they're gonna say, by the way, local communities should be able to regulate pesticide use in California, and that would be a disaster for our industry. So I wanted to make you aware of that. I was going to talk about sulfuric fluoride because we've been, my good friend John Sansome and I have been involved along with Heather Douglas, who by the way does a tremendous job for Douglas. But I'm going to have John talk about it because we got two issues going on, not only with the mitigation measures that Jim talked about at our legislative committee today, but also that John and I have been engaged in, but also John's going to talk about, we have an issue regarding the Port of Los Angeles and activity occurring there, and I'm going to leave that to John as well. Some other interesting, well, not interesting, but good news is for the first time in probably a year, we made, and Jim will talk about this too, Pcoc was actively engaged. We identified some members that we're going to lend some money to. I always say lend money because nothing's ever permanent in the political world, but Jim's going to talk about the activity of Pcoc over the last couple of months. Excited about that, not only this year, but what we do next year as well, now that we're sort of up and running. I want to talk a little bit about events. This was great, and as you know, you all know this in the COVID world, but we're trying to be as flexible as we can. We're going to abide by local regulatory guidelines in terms of COVID. We fully anticipate, folks, much like this meeting, as we get into Palm Springs, that depending on the situation, it's going to be like this. We're going to follow local regulatory requirements, guidelines, et cetera. So I've gotten that question a couple times. As you know, we're going to have to be flexible, play it by ear, and we will. But appreciate your understanding. And we anticipate, unless things change, we're going to have our normal schedule. Even in the world we live with COVID, I see Jim regarding MPMA, and I know you guys are going straight ahead with in Las Vegas, and that's our view too, is we're going to go ahead unless we can't go ahead. Finally, I want to talk about just two issues that we talked about at our last board meeting, just to give you an update. First, the building, in terms of we're still working through the process of Vince will talk about this too, and we're still working through the process of the building in terms of leasing and identifying real space that we like. And as you know, this is never easy, but we're involved in that process. I keep the subcommittee chair who worked on this, Mike Buller. I keep Mike and Dean fully informed, their executive committee informed. So we'll continue to work through that process. But part of the challenge, as you know, is with Sacramento effectively shut down, state government's not working in their buildings by and large. The capital is difficult to get in the capital. So my concern was we get downtown, and all of a sudden now they won't even let us in our own office building, because of the restrictions of use in some of these buildings. So we've tried to be deliberate, careful, and not get a situation where we can't get out either. So, but we are proceeding. Also, the replacement for Karen's position, same thing. one of our concerns, one of my concerns, as I shared with the committee, is that as we got into July, August, and we get into the COVID challenge, I was very concerned about bringing someone in when we don't know what this is going to look like, and we might have it in a public meeting in the near future. And putting headcount in there and with our limited resources, we want to be very careful about when we do that. But I must tell you, we're going to ramp that up too, because as we get down the road here, Sarah and I aren't going to be able to do this by ourselves. So we're looking at filling that position here in the near future as well. But we've been careful, deliberate. I use the word deliberate about how we handle this process because of the situation we find ourselves in. So I just wanted to give you some background on those two issues. I know we talked about them before, but our expectations are we're going to proceed forward on both of those issues. So anyway, thank you. Great to be here. Yeah. By the way, let me call on our friend Nick Rasafi to come up. Nick, are you here? Syngenta. Nick, welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for coming today, my friend.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see so many faces in person, on Zoom call. And great to be here. Those of you in our Pest rebate program, the checks went out early this week. So you should have those in the office when you get home. And those of you that didn't get a check, our rebate program starts again October 1st. And everyone can get in. If you need more information on that, I'd be happy to fill you in on how the program works. And other than that, enjoy your time and
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to call on Mary Hernandez for the treasurer report. I will. No, it's fine. You're gonna have to lean up. Okay.
Good afternoon. It's so nice to see everybody live and in person. Can you hear me okay? Because I don't want to have to hold the mic if I'm going to have to read from my report. Okay, this is a treasurer's report. Balance sheet as of June 30th, 2021, our assets. Total checking savings are $289,938 and are composed of checking, dues money market, building reserve, equipment impound, legal impound, Cal OSHA, and encumbered building reserves. Total accounts receivable is $406,445 and are composed of AR 2122 state dues of $320 and $320,166. AR 2122 district dues of $39,955. AR 2122 voluntary Pcoc contribution of $43,209. AR 2021 state dues of $116. AR other of $3,000, which is due from Pcoc. Total other current assets are $3,155 and are composed of prepaid expenses, the Westin Carlsbad. Total fixed assets are $161,049 and are composed of land, automobile, building improvements, and furniture fixtures, net of accumulated depreciation. Total other assets are $3,555 and are the Equity Pcoc Group, which is the Pcoc investment in the insurance program. Total assets come in at $864,142. The balance sheet as of June 30th, 2021, liabilities and equity. Total current liabilities are $696,886 and are composed of accounts payable and other current liabilities. Total accounts payable are $66,563 and are composed of AP trade of $12,717, which is Imus, Arc, Garland Vance, Nova, Vivify, that's a hard one, and Great American. AP auto loan of $22,760. AP district dues of $19,994. AP PCOC cares of $328. Wells Fargo credit card of $10,764. Travel expenses for Carlsbad, phone, auto for this meeting. Total other current liabilities are $630,323 and are composed of insurance, medical of $86, deferred 2021-22 state dues of $490,581, deferred 21-22 district dues of $61,195, deferred 21-22 voluntary Pcoc contributions of $60,780, deferred 2021 state dues of $116, sales tax payable AR of $6, vacation payable of $17,572. Total equity is $167,256 and is composed of retained earnings of $28,190 and net income of $139,066. Total liabilities and equity balance out at $864,142. Statements of activities for the period ending June 30th, 2021. This financial statement represents 12 months of our total budgeted year. Income. Total income for the 2020-21 was $567,857. This was 64.2% of the total budgeted amount. Expenses. Total expenses for the 2021 were $568,758. This is 65.2% of the total budgeted amount. Extraordinary items. PPP of $56,767 is expected to be forgiven. There was a prior year adjustment to income of $83,200 to resolve prior balances in deferred income and AR dating back several years. The statement of activities for the 2021 reported a net loss of $901. When extraordinary items are considered, 2021 reported a net profit of $139,066. Any questions regarding June 30th, 2021 financial statements? Oh, thanks. I have another report too. And I know John's not here, but he did great stuff to get us organized, and he's working really hard for us. So if you see him, tell him thanks. Did he leave already? Yeah. Oh, okay. Hopefully you get the opportunity to meet him if you didn't already. Okay. So this is my treasurer's report for oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we have.
Any other questions? I'm sorry.
That was the determination John made regarding the whole dues that never received, that we need to sort of identify, sort of put the bands, and we've always said, without billed but not received. So John made a calculation last year about that particular issue. We're going to have to get that off our books. So that's the number right there. Yeah. Essentially, correct. In terms of overflow.
Any other questions?
Can I jump in on that?
Sure.
Yesterday,
CPA accounting guy, he pointed out, you can look at it, I'll point this out there so you can see it. He pointed out to us yesterday, but you'll know that the line item, accounts receivable with assets of AR 2122 state dues, balances, what it's saying now, well, no. Hold that thought. I'm a little, you pointed out something yesterday was I'm a little bit lost on, but he's worked very, very hard because it's insane. And I believe that we're on track now, so it's just a long line that and I figured that out really all like that. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Gary, in addition to the loan forgiveness from PPP,
Mhm.
they forgiven any interest outstanding.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'll find that out. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, now I have the answer. I was thinking wrong on the answer. It was a mess, but it was still a mess at the end of the third and that policy adjustment. Now going forward, if you look at the August 31 financial, you look at the AR 2122 state dues line item of $118,342.36. When you go to the liability side, the first state dues, that number is the same. Going forward, those two numbers will always match. The unearned or deferred dues will always be the equal to the outstanding AR from the billing that went out in April 8 line one. So he's worked very hard to pick that up and have consistent way to address deferred dues. And then we won't be carrying deferred dues on the prior year again. They don't look back at it. I almost embarrassed myself, but I appreciate that.
Good save. Yeah,
I'm working at it, John.
always. Okay, so this is the balance sheet as of August 31st, 2021. Total checking savings are $410,069 and are composed of checking, dues money market, building reserve, equipment impound, legal impound, Cal OSHA, and encumbered building reserves. Total accounts receivable is $164,011 and are composed of AR 2122 state dues of $118,343, AR 2122 district dues of $19,827, AR 2122 voluntary Pcoc contribution of $25,727, AR 2021 state dues of $116. Total other current assets are $3,155 and are composed of prepaid expenses, the Westin Carlsbad. Total fixed assets are $161,353 and are composed of land, automobile, building improvements, and furniture fixtures net of accumulated depreciation. Total other assets are $3,555 and are the equity Pcoc group, which is the PCOC investment in the insurance program. Total assets come in at $742,143. Balance sheet as of August 31st, 2021, liabilities and equity. Total current liabilities are $280,840 and are composed of accounts payable and other accounts liabilities. Total accounts payable are $91,404 and are composed of AP trade of $6,944, which is ARC and Garland Vance, AP auto loan of $20,939, AP district dues of $61,363, AP PCOC cares of $328, the Wells Fargo credit cards of $3,829, which includes travel expenses for Carlsbad, phone, and auto. Total other current liabilities are $187,436 and are composed of insurance, medical, of $86, deferred 21-22 state dues of $118,343, deferred 21-22 district dues of $19,827, deferred 21-22 voluntary Pepco contributions of $25,727, deferred 2021 state dues of $116. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Board of Directors Carlsbad payable $10,792, sales tax payable AR of $6, vacation payable of $12,724. Total equity is $461,303 and is composed of retained earnings of $167,256 and net income of $294,047. Total liabilities and equity balance out at $742,143. Statement of activities for the period ending August 31st, 2021. This financial statement represents 2 months of our total budgeted year. Income. Total income for the current period, the month of August 2021, is $64,128. Total income for the year to date, the 2 months ending August 31st, 2021, which is 2 months of our current fiscal year, is $451,574. This is a 50.2% of the total budgeted amount. Expenses. Total expenses for the current period, the month of August 2021, are $88,056, which includes a $46,000 contribution to Pepco. Total expenses for the year to date, ending August 31st, 2021, which is 2 months of our fiscal year, are $157,527. This is a 17.5% of the total budgeted amount. The statement of activities for the current period, the month ending August 2021, reported a net loss of $23,928. The statement of activities for the year to date ending August 31st, 2021, which is also the 2 months of our fiscal year, reported a net income of $294,467. And that, are there any questions on the first quarter report? Yes. Okay.
So we made projections. And, you know, and by the way, these are projections too. But we had projections, when we do events, but that's normally how we do it. So.
There's no number next to the last one.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Oh, you're right.
You are. Is that because of the COVID? I mean, okay. Are there any further questions? All right. Thank you very much. I know.
Great job, Mary. That's the most dreaded spot in the executive committee, let me tell you.
That was a long one.
Thank God I didn't have too many questions when I was doing it. Right now, I'd like to call up Tom Graston to introduce a special guest.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everybody. It's great to be wearing pants again. I was there last night. If you know what time if you walk up and you're not wearing pants, that would be awesome. Somebody even offered me $20. I'm surprised I didn't take it, you know. Yeah.
about to use the park restroom when a 23-year-old man with a knife tried to stab him.
He ran back to the vehicle, got into the vehicle. The suspect continued on past the vehicle, and there was a lady walking her dog, and he continued to the dog, started stabbing the dog. Joe was sitting in the vehicle watching this horrific thing take place. He at that point the suspect turned back to killing the dog and started stabbing the lady.
That lady in her 60s fell to the ground, and that's when Cohen got out of his truck and picked up a rock.
He threw it, hit the suspect in the face, knocked him out, and he was able to basically subdue and hold the suspect close to his death.
Cohen said later that the attacker appeared to be on drugs, but no motive yet for the killing from detectives. For local residents, the carnage is tough to process.
At first, when I saw all of the police, I thought maybe somebody got hit by a car, maybe it was an accident. That was the first thought that came to my head, but then once I heard otherwise, it just, just sits me thinking, I don't know when I want to come back to the park and hang out. It's a little scary.
The investigators say they recovered a knife at the scene, and they believe this is the suspect's car, though it's unclear why he chose this location for his attacks. Despite the killings, though, Tony Pate says that his son-in-law is a hero.
But that guy was out there to kill anybody and everybody. Here's the crowded park at 1:45 in the afternoon. God knows what it was, how many more people he was taking.
Well, that suspect is hospitalized tonight with that head injury. We understand after he's released, he will be charged with the murder, but no ID yet on that suspect or the victim at the dog. In San Dimas, I'm Rick Chambers. Got to go back to you in the studio.
So I know I brought this up before. I brought it up in a meeting, and and the thing that gets to me the most about all this is that that young man saved lives, and he's one of us. And this is a great opportunity in person to acknowledge him. So I'd like to invite Joe Cohen.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just make this short and quick. I just want to thank PCOC, the executive committee, and staff members for putting this together. Definitely won't forget what happened, and I'm glad that we can shine a positive light on this industry. With everything going on, pest control doesn't really get a positive light sometimes. So I'm glad that I can be a part of this, and I just want to thank everybody that was a part of this as well. So thank you. Thank you.
So just to give you a little bit more detail about the story that wasn't in the news, and that talking to Joe, when he was returning from the restroom, this guy came up to him and he was holding a knife. And while he was holding that knife, he started cutting his own tongue, telling Joe that he's going to kill him. Joe goes to his car for his truck for his own defense, but it was kind of like running around his truck trying to get to the door while the guy is chasing him. The lady that was murdered in this scene was standing right by there. When Joe saw that, he got out of his truck, grabbed the rock, and hit him on the head and knocked him out and stayed there. I want to pee just thinking about that. That is just amazing that you had the strength and the courage. You made us all look good. So on behalf of the Pest Control Operators of California, we acknowledge Joe Cohen for his act of bravery and for saving many lives on March 25th, 2021. Thanks, sir. Come on, come on. I want to thank Target Specialty for actually paying for for him and his wife to come and spend a couple of nights with us here in Carlsbad. I want to thank Viserys for their $500 gift card that they gave so that him and his wife can actually eat. Well, actually, they probably ate at McDonald's because I think his wife shared with me earlier. She spent it all on clothes. But I also like to thank Geotech. And Geotech for, you know, that was a rock the size of a baseball. So they got you all kinds of gear for your favorite baseball team, buddy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Tom, don't go anymore. Tom, I want to thank you for the tremendous job you did last year in under very unique circumstances. And on behalf of the Pest Control Operators of California, here is your ring.
Right on.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your patience while I was on Zoom.
Sarah, are we showing the slideshow or the okay. One of our other sponsors today, co-sponsors is Bear and Josh Shoemaker. I think he's here, but I think we're going to show a video.
In the world of pest management, tough conditions are around every corner. As you treat homes or businesses, you need tools that stand up to those conditions. You need the unstoppable staying power of Suspend Polyzone. Suspend Polyzone is an innovative product that controls pests like ants, spiders, bed bugs, mosquitoes, and many more, with a long-lasting residual formulation that stands up in even warm, wet, or greasy environments. It's formulated to stay where it's applied for up to 90 days. And now with its expanded label that includes food handling locations, it keeps working in more places than ever before. Suspend Polyzone stays where others can't and lasts where others won't. So whether you're treating within food handling areas, applying barrier treatments, or treating for mosquitoes, you have the power of Suspend Polyzone on your side. So what's the secret behind this unstoppable staying power? Within its formulation, Suspend Polyzone features a proprietary polymer layer that protects the active ingredient from weather, irrigation, spray rinsing, and mechanical abrasion. This ensures more active ingredient remains available over a longer period of time. Suspend Polyzone is also designed with a controlled release formulation that resists erosion even on tough surfaces, ensuring applications of Suspend Polyzone will continue to control targeted pests for up to 90 days. With Suspend Polyzone, you get better, more uniform distribution of active ingredient particles than you get with microcap formulations. With Suspend Polyzone, you can maintain control with fewer applications, increase the interval between perimeter pest management services, and improve your bottom line. Talk to your Bear rep about Suspend Polyzone today to experience the benefits of unstoppable staying power for yourself.
Great, thank you. There was a cornhole contest out back, and there was a raffle for the cornhole, and Marty Vastapi won that cornhole kit, or set, I guess you'd say. So, congratulations. Next, I'd like to call up Lee and Paul for our PCOC insurance report. Paul, you look pretty. That's not Paul.
Turn to the yellow pages and we'll go over the financial reports. Balance sheet ending June 30th, 2021. This is the end of our fiscal year. Shows total assets at $2,040,418, balancing with total liabilities and equity. On the back, on the statement of activities, I'd like to point out, you can see the top line there, commissions income $118,317. I'll kind of refer back to this later in my report. But what that is we've had an agreement that we receive 3% commission on all of the premiums that are underwritten through the program. So on an annual basis, that commission has generated for our program about $120,000. I'll refer back to that shortly. The other thing I point out on this income statement, you can look down there, investment income. For the year, we're relatively invested in conservative type funds, but yet we still were able to receive almost $70,000 on our investment income. So it really did very well last year. The next financial report, the balance sheet, covers August 31st, so it's for 2 months. You can see on there that the one point I'll make here is you can see the Wells Fargo trust amount has increased. That's because we made our commission, or excuse me, our collateral call payment into the trust, and so it went up 40-something thousand dollars. You can see that. Other than that, all of the stuff on the balance sheet is the same as from the end of the year. And on the back, you can see year to date on commission income, we have $26,152 and a list of expenses with a net income for the first 2 months at $23,292.82. Any questions on the financials? Yeah. No, it comes in monthly. So as the premiums are received, Laura and their team, actually it's about a 2-month lag, but after they write those commissions, then they actually send checks over to the PCOC office. And so I'm sorry, what's that? Correct, right?
The clients have to pay the.
Yeah, they have to pay, and then we get the 3% once they've made the payment. Correct. Any other questions on the financials? All right, moving on. So was it Zoom last time? Yeah. So last time when we did the Zoom meeting, I had given you an update that we're having some challenges with getting to our renewal agreement with the new captive program. Last year, if you recall, because of the additional collateral requirements that they were asking for, we had to drop our participation from 40% down to 35%, predominantly driven by negative results on the auto that I've set up here and talked about for about 5 years now. This year, that problem has escalated to the point that when we did our renewal this year, we have now went from 35% to 10% participation in the captive. So we're essentially almost out of the game. That cost us $90,000 in collateral still. And not only that, when they came back to us with those terms, they reduced that 3% commission that we had agreed to from 15 years ago when we set this up. They dictated that would be reduced to 2% now. And that was a non-negotiable change. So what that means is if you look at the rough math back on the financials, annually we've gotten about, like I said, $120,000 rough math. With that reduction in that 1 point, that means that we've lost $40,000 annually, moving forward of our income. So instead of 120K, we're going to, we'll be actually having about $80,000 come in. That created, for us, we also have other expenses like maintaining the captive offshore, the expense of hiring architects, insurance, and some other functions. And so with that change, and that goes into effect as of August the 1st, it made it to where we were not going to be able to actually operate in the black because we just don't have the same income anymore. So I had talked to the executive committee last quarter and sort of forecasted this and did an ask. I said, we really need to consider if you guys can let us off the hook on our $36,000 contribution that we do to the association on an annual basis. Yesterday, I had to go to them and tell them it really wasn't an ask anymore because we just don't have the money in order to be able to continue to support that. And so they graciously have sort of let us off the hook for 9 months this year and for the next year while we try to get our game back together. Laura will talk a little bit about what we're going to do to try to make that happen here shortly. Any questions on that? Oh, the other thing I would say is, so we get a report that takes all of our different program years. So now we're in program year 16 now. And we get a report that takes and consolidates all of the prior years, you know, and some years are good and some years have been bad. 5 years ago, that report showed excess of $1.6 million that we had, you know, in the program. Since then, now that 1.6 million is down to 172,000. So in 5 years, predominantly driven by auto losses, we've melted away, you know, $1.5 million out of our captive. So it's not a very pretty picture. It's incumbent upon us to start doing better on this auto stuff. And when you guys are getting your renewals, we know that the rates are going up, but you have to understand, and this isn't a phenomenon, you know, just with our association. In fact, our results are probably better than nationwide averages, you know, so you guys are doing a little better than, you know, or I shouldn't say you guys, we all are doing a little better, you know, than most, but, you know, we really need to see some improvement there. So when your rates go up a little bit, please understand that it's out of necessity, you know. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Jim. So there are still monies that we have, you know, we help flip the bill for our lobbyist, you know, and that's a pretty significant contribution we do. We will continue to do that. We'll continue to do a lot of the sponsorship activities. So there's still another probably 20,000 plus, you know, that we support and continue to do so, and we'll be able to. This alteration just for the next year and a half or so will at least allow us to be in the black, and, you know, we'll make, you know, somewhere around 10 grand a year, you know, if there are no unforeseen expenses. Yes, sir. That is the lobbyist. Yes. Yeah, that goes to Dominic and Max right there. Yes. You know, when we look at, you know, the primary other market that we cover other than California, we write about 90% of the pest control business in Hawaii. Their results have been phenomenal for literally since they've come into the program. They don't have as much, you know, litigation over there, you know, and it just seems like, you know, I don't know if they just drive slower on the island or what's the deal, but yeah, their results have been very positive. We had a little glitch with them last year on a couple of exposure claims that ended up costing us, but that was on the GL side. But just overall, you know, and for quite some time, they have led the way as far as the results go. And they're not a lot, you know, it's a small portion of our overall footprint, you know, but their results are good, you know. So any other questions? Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is last quarter's election. I feel remiss because probably the one guy that has helped me do this job has been Joe Gatto, you know, and he went through the election, and I don't even think he even mentioned that he's been the chief financial officer for our program for over 10 years, you know, and he ended up not, you know, being reelected, but we need to have a transition. And I talked to, you know, afterwards we talked about it, and we're trying to figure out what was the best solution for that. And I had actually had a conversation with Jim Shockey, and he's been on this, he served as a trustee for almost 30 years on this board. And he agreed that, you know, he was willing to step down so that we could fill that spot back with Joe, so that we can transition someone else into replacing Joe as the chief financial officer. So, Lauren Thrasher has volunteered to do that, and she's already started. She gave a financial report for our board today. She's been working with Joe to do that transition over the next year or so. And I just want to thank Jim Shockey. I mean, just like the last thing he does, you know, to benefit our association is to do something like that. Pretty touching, you know. So, program results. Okay, I'll turn it over to Laura at this time.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you all face to face. I actually did wear pants during the pandemic. I'm like, they were shorts, so it feels good to be dressed up and feel like a professional today. So year over year, our premium is up about 8% in the program. A lot of that is driven by the auto rates going up. Our number of insureds is relatively flat. We've written some new business, but we're also seeing a lot of businesses being acquired by some very large companies. Some of our larger accounts have been acquired. And then I've seen of late just some businesses just closing their doors, just they don't want to do it anymore. So what we need to do to really offset that, and there was a question earlier about a national presence, is, you know, we need to get more premium and more policyholders into this program. So we really need to get ourselves ready to take this nationwide, which is what we're going to do. We've done well in Hawaii, California, but there's so much that we can tap into in the rest of the country. So Epic is investing a lot of resources in some technology, some InsurTech technology to put behind that, to help us be competitive in other states, and the ease of doing business to come and get a quote in the program, find out how to reach us. And if we can do something that's online where they can relatively get a quick quote or an indication, then, you know, people just want what's easy for them. And then we'll know that they've come to the website, we'll see the traffic, and we will pursue those opportunities. We also have a big sales distribution within Epic, and we're going to launch, we're going to talk about it in December, but we'll be launching our plans for that. And the last thing I wanted to update you on is, you know, to Lee's point with the captive, our relationship with Nova Casualty is still very good. But we are looking at other carriers. We have to keep our options open. We want to partner with the right carrier that's going to be there with us and help in this technology as well, because if we build this technology, they have to come to the table as well. So we've already had discussions with many carriers. Right now, we're just in the introduction phase. Who's really interested? And by December, we'll have a better update for you all. We might have entered into some non-disclosure agreements to where we really start digging into it to see what our options are out there. So please stay tuned for that. We're working behind the scenes while we keep everything going in front of the scenes for you all. So lots to come. Also, I wanted to just really give Michael a lot of credit. He's really done a great job with our auto safety campaign. And he's been out there, he's been Zooming with you all. If you have not already had the auto safety course from Michael, please reach out to him. It's really good. We've gotten a lot of feedback that it's very engaging, the drivers were engaged, and that it was really good information. So I'm going to turn it over to him so he can share those results with you and actually share some success stories with you.
All right. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Lee. So at the beginning of the year, we set out with a goal to get, based on our losses that we've had on the auto line for multiple years now, we had to come up with some type of solution. So we came up with a driver safety class, and our goal at the beginning of the year was to train 1,000 drivers. And so we went about it, and right about the first month in, I realized with the Zoom technology, we're able to reach many more drivers than I thought we would be able to, just me going out to do it physically, right? So year to date, we've done 31 meetings, and we've trained 1,186 drivers so far. So doing a really good job. So the first month in, when I realized the potential of it, I said, you know what, let's go ahead and see if we can do 1,500, and I think we can. So we got 3 months left. We got about 312 more drivers, 314 more drivers to train. I'll be reaching out to you folks to see if you'd like to take part in it. It is a Zoom class, takes 1 hour. We do have an hour of continuing education approved for it. And so it's worthwhile. It'll be helpful, and it addresses an absolute need that we're having right now within the industry and within the program, and that is to reduce auto losses, reduce injuries, and reduce damages out there in the field. So, yeah. Yes. Yes, it's available to members of PCOC, non-members of PCOC, insureds, and also non-insureds. Our objective is to train drivers and just to the betterment of the industry. So we've opened it up to everybody. So definitely reach out if we haven't done a course for your company yet. And then secondly, do we have a couple videos ready? So part of the course, and something I encourage all of you folks to do, if you don't have it already, is to get GPS installed in your vehicles. It's really important to have GPS that actually modifies driver behavior. So this is one where our driver was the truck that stopped at the stop sign and went through the intersection. The other driver actually ran the stop sign and collided with our truck. So when this accident came in, it came in from our insured, and it was reported. And so obviously they reported it correctly that their driver stopped and the other driver ran the stop sign and collided with them. And so as we went through the process with the other insurance company actually said that we were at fault, that our driver ran the stop sign and their driver stopped and went through the intersection. This happens a lot. Every time there's a claim, we get multiple sides of the story, so to speak, right? And so we were lucky in this one. This particular company did not have video cameras inside their vehicles, but the restaurant on the corner actually had a surveillance camera outside. So they gave us the video footage of the occurrence, and we were able to package that up nicely, send that back to the other insurance company, and it completely vindicated our driver. And so guess what our insured went out and did the following week? He went out and got installed. He went out and got cameras installed in his vehicle, got the hardware, and got the Azuga system set up in his vehicle. There's no evidence like video evidence. Now, sometimes we are on the wrong end of the stick, and it's proven that our driver was at fault, but at least we know exactly what happened. We don't have any cases where we're paying claims, because we have paid claims in the past on disputed liability cases, and this actually really helps us. Now we have another one here where he didn't send the second one? Really?
You had a really good video.
Damn it! It is a drive cam. Okay, well, let's go out there and play some bumper cars, right? Okay, well, the second video that we were supposed to have for you was this is one where actually I want to show you an example where one of our insureds did have a video, and so what happened was he was going through the intersection, and I'm just hoping it's going to appear on the screen, but it's not. And so going through the intersection, and then our driver just driving straight, and we had a footage of him in his cabin just driving down the road, and all of a sudden he just got blindsided, right? And he got twisted around, and then he ran into a pole. And it was another case where the other insurance company submitted the claim to us saying that our driver was 100% at fault. They were not at fault. And we're like, whoa, hang on, packaged up the video, sent it over to them, and they immediately accepted liability for everything. And our driver was once again 100% vindicated. So I implore you all, it's worth the investment to get GPS systems in your vehicles, and also too, especially with the camera. It actually will show you exactly what your driver was doing at the point of impact, and it's really valuable, getting good information and good training for you and your people. So, any questions for me? All right, thank you all.
Thanks, Michael. So we have a deal with Azuga too. So you guys can get preferred pricing through Azuga. There's been a lot of success stories with a lot of folks that are using that. You know, Jim Steed has it in his whole fleet, and they get ratings, you know, for each of their drivers, and it encourages positive behavior. You give them awards or something too, the ones that do the best, right? And so it's like, instead of, you know, always having to chew out your guys, it gives you an opportunity to actually promote, you know, positive behavior. So I think, you know, you really should explore that with Azuga if you don't have those on your vehicles. You know, with that drop, you know, from 35% down to 10%, you know, I'm sure you guys probably feel similar to the way that we do. You know, it feels as though, you know, our captive program may be in peril right now. But what I can tell you is that we're looking at everything from a, you know, from a strategic vantage point. We'll figure out the best folks to work with as we move forward, and we'll determine what is the right course and the right like setup, for how we'll do so. And I think it's as much an opportunity, for us to improve as it is, a disappointment, to see that go down. But I think moving forward, we'll work hard to make sure that we have a viable insurance alternative for you all. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Next, I'd like to call up Cardinal, another co-sponsor. It looks like it's going to be John.
At 30 minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
And Jim will be timing you.
Hey, I just want to say it's great to see everybody, right? All you guys. And when Chris and I, were talking about this, it was like, is it going to actually happen, right? And I said, look, either way, just keep the money because that's just part of the deal. But hey, I've been involved with this association a lot of years. One of the roles has been through fumigation enforcement, and I always kid with Greg Augustine. I used to be a salesman, right, for Cardinal. Those days are over, right? Now we're all in regulatory, just dealing with the different agencies that try to put us out of business. So I'm in the business of molecule preservation, trying to keep stuff going, right? So as I get a little bit older, Ed Hosoda's gotten a little bit older up north. At some point in the future, not like Jim Finley now, right? We're going to have to ride off into the sunset. And I pretty much have been the caretaker of the fumigation industry. Bobby, how long do you think it's been? Yeah, since about 1974, right? So I've been doing it a long time. And, anybody ever watch Game of Thrones? Right. So the people of the Night Watch had to be right on the wall. At some point, my time will come to an end. And so we've been looking for younger talent, and, Travis at Griffin is working for Cardinal, and I brought him along to really take over my role and really run the operations. And in that stead, we try to identify some younger talent. I don't want to say better looking, because I've seen Travis's beard now, and I'm not sure about that. But in trying to find some other talent, people that know fumigation, that are dedicated to this industry and will work for PCOC benefit in the years to come, I would like to call our latest hire somebody that formerly worked at Douglas Products. We identified him as a real asset to the industry. I'd like him to come up and just say a few words. So this week, we're proud to hire and have come to work for Cardinal, Doug Bell. He's coming back to California, and he'll be working with Cardinal. So welcome, Doug, please.
Follow John Sansone. That's always easy, right? The prodigal son has returned, I think. It's good to be back. Thank you, Douglas friends. We had some rock and roll times. We'll continue to have some more fun times. Just in talking with everybody, it's been great to rekindle those relationships. And I actually didn't miss any meetings. So I never was really gone. I figured Tom was taking over the show, and I was like, maybe I'll go hang out somewhere else for a while. But so Dean, I'm back. I got your back, bro. I missed you guys. It was a great opportunity in Denver, but we're going to be moving back to California, and just look forward to working with John and Ed and Travis and Uncle Mike and everybody, and supporting the industry in even more capacities than I did with Douglas. We have more stuff to offer and more opportunities to share and help the industry grow. So I'm on board. Let me know what you guys need, and we'll have some fun tonight. And good to see everybody. Thank you.
John, was that a retirement speech?
No, it wasn't long enough. Taking cowboys out for a walk in the sunset. And I can't quite see the sunset yet, but really, the sun's starting to go down. I want to be like a lot of people, find out about it. But, it's coming.
All right, you just have to finish my year, okay? I don't want you going down till then. I don't care about these guys.
Oh, thanks.
Right now, it's time for our affiliate reports. I'm sorry, our committee reports, and I'd like to call up Greg Augustine.
Wow, we're back. Isn't that something incredible? You know, I was sitting here, just go off script here for a minute, take advantage of having the microphone, but I think back to the end of Mike McKenzie's term when the government was shutting everybody down and we were in free fall. PCOC went to extraordinary efforts to make sure that we were identified as an essential service. Think of all the history that's taken place from that moment till now and the enormous amount of uncertainty. We're back as meeting in person, but more importantly, PCOC has survived financially. There was a chance that PCOC might not even have made it. Losing Expo, losing Ledge Day. Also, our businesses were threatened, and we're here today. Most of them have thrived through the last year and a half. So not only are we back, the association is healthy financially, and our businesses are thriving. The other thing I'm reminded of, I hear, you know, our mission statement, I meant to bring it up. Let me grab that. Looking at this while we were sitting here, through environmental stewardship and legislative advocacy, we protect people, property, and our food supply. You know, mission statements are hard to craft, and they miss so many of the nuanced benefits of any organization. And just today, whether I was at lunch or listening to some things about Formosan termites, which had slipped through my cracks, my awareness, and they're right in my own backyard in La Mesa, just so many things that I know that I'm going to take back and integrate into my business and make my business better. You know, yes, we are protecting all these things on this mission statement, but we're also making each and every one of our businesses a better business, and every one of us a better professional and owner. And it's hard to quantify that. It's hard to put that nuance into a mission statement, but believe me, the benefits far outweigh whatever any of us have put, or at least speaking for myself, whatever I put into this association. I know I've garnered in benefits far more than that. And, you know, I sound like the, you know, public service announcement here or something, but it's just so proud to be here. And, you know, Tom, the leadership that you and Chris embarked on to get us through the pandemic. You know, it's easy to be the boss when the wind is smooth and the skies are clear and the ocean is smooth. But when it's turbulent and there's a lot of uncertainty and you're losing an engine, you know, that's the real test. Congratulations, Tom and Chris. I think we lost more than one engine, but we made it. Good job. Okay, all that pontification over with. I'd like to call up Ledge Day. Who's our chairman? I don't know who that is.
It's Darren Steenwick. There's a bit of a program change real quick. Come up. Yeah. Darren Van Steenwick.
Darren Van Steenwick, Ledge Day chairman. Welcome.
Only short, Chris covered a fair amount of what I was covered today. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Legislative committee covered a couple of key aspects of our business. One is fumigation. I'll let John talk about that during his fumigation report. And then the other
The other kind of primary topic that we discussed was not quite sure what to do with this thing. Thanks, Foster. Thanks for the heads up on that one. Appreciate it. I know. Is the issue that we're having in Ventura County, as Chris covered. This is going to be a potentially much larger issue than we were hoping or kind of saw it to be. This is one of those issues that could be the precursor to preemption that we were initially talking about a couple years ago, or last year, whenever we have discussed it before. This issue in Ventura County, while it is started in Malibu, is moving on to countywide, and as Chris mentioned, it could move on to other counties. There is, as Chris mentioned, a lawsuit out there between LA County and the Coastal Commission that does not look good for us as far as keeping preemption within DPR. So with that said, we will be kind of knocking our heads together to figure out what the best way forward is. So if we tap on your shoulder or ask you to volunteer to speak, to participate, to somehow throw your 2 cents in, we ask that you do so. That this isn't, and we will not be asking for participation and support in this lightly, as this issue is one that could get very ugly for us very quickly, and so this is something that we will be taking very seriously. And then the last point that I wanted to say, again, Chris mentioned AB 332. Positive thing for us, we can now kind of go back to business as usual as far as removal or treating, disposal of treated wood waste. So now we can actually dispose of it in the way that we know we should. We know how to. So with that said, any questions before I yield my time? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Really appreciate Darren and his leadership in the Legislative Committee. You can expect to be hearing from the Legislative Committee more often than just at the board meetings. This challenge that we have to us with preemption, I think, is already begun, and it's going to take some concerted efforts on our parts, both in Sacramento, but especially outside of Sacramento. And I want to give you the Pcoc angle on that reality right now. A couple of things to report to you. I had a conversation with the attorney that keeps us in line with Pcoc with our spending and our money and our fundraising. Andy Raucus is his name. Chris and I were able to talk with him this last week. And he has succeeded our previous attorney, Wayne, who represented us for quite some time. And we think that Andy is as capable and energetic and a professional person that we could ever hope to have on our side with this. So had a great phone call with him, and a couple of things came from that phone call that are relevant for what we're doing here. One of the most important things that we discovered in the phone call is that we, as a PAC, a Political Action Committee, can make donations to local races. And so as our legislative efforts start to branch out into engaging our local politicians more and more, our PAC, our Political Action group, is going to be preparing to do that as well. So we've already identified some areas and working with Dominic where we may find ourselves involved in campaigns that are not at the state level, but at the local level, where we're seeing a lot of the environmental advocates engaging local politicians, building a bunch of consensus at a local level, bringing that to the Capitol to try and strengthen their position. So we're going from the Capitol back out to the local areas to engage them right the same place that they're engaging. The second thing that we learned on our phone call is that in addition to our regular members being able to support our PAC, we found out that our affiliates can also participate in our PAC. And so our Pcoc committee has had some discussion on that and voted to move forward to invite our affiliates to participate in that. And we'll be crafting an invitation letter to our affiliates to ask them to join and support PAPCO at a pretty important time. You can imagine what preemption means to suppliers and manufacturers. Their products can be banned in a number of municipalities. I think Chris stated there are 400 cities in California and almost 60 counties, 57, I think, 58 counties, right? So there's a lot of different municipalities that can take any singular product or multiple products and say, your use is banned in our county or in our city. So the preemption battle is probably the battle of the decade for us this coming decade, and we're trying to get rolling on it right now in more of an offense than a defense. We're happy to report that our Club 99 contributions have been fairly robust. So we have already made $40,000 in contributions this year. They went out about 4 weeks ago, about 2 weeks before end of session. Our goal has been to take our donations, which have been in the 20 and 30,000 kind of area, and move it up to 100,000. We think, depending on our fundraising and our continued Club 99 and our dues coming in, that we'll be able to do another 20 to 30,000 this year. And with continued growth and support from our affiliates, we hope to be a $100,000 PAC next year. We'll keep you posted on that. Any questions for PAPCO? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Christine Cornejo with Pcoc Care.
Thank you very much. It is nice to be here in person, as everybody keeps saying, and super excited to be here as part of CARES, because honestly, in the last year, we've done a lot, and I do appreciate Dean asking me back as chair again this year. But when we started last year, it was basically to remind everybody about PCOC CARES again. It kind of fell by the wayside, and we did an exceptionally great job with that, and we were able to raise enough money. If you look at your pink sheets last year, that we brought in about just under $5,000, paid out about $4,200. That was last year's payouts, $4,200. You turn to this year's pink sheets, it brings us down to about a current balance of the $31,000. And I'm going over the numbers first because that's the business side of things. Now, since July 1st, so last year we paid out $42 for the whole year. Since July 1st, we've already given 3 awards through PCOC CARES. We've had somebody going through cancer treatment. We helped them pay their rent. We had somebody with a family member. Well, we had an actual industry member employee pass away, and somebody that had a child pass away. And so we've helped with funeral expenses, rent. These are the things that PCOC CARES is here for us to help our own industry, to help each other and to be there for each other, because honestly, we're a good group of people, and helping each other is what it's about. And I always say you can't outgive God. The more we're blessed, the more we should be a blessing. Now that I say that, we've already done 3 this year, which add up to $6,745.26, with no money coming in yet to offset that. 2 other requests I'm hearing through the grapevine are going to be heading in our way. Fire victims, I don't remember the other one. And it's a very real need out there. So raising money obviously is part of my job, and part of our committee is to raise money for the trustees to vote on and how we're going to give it out. The first thing I would like to acknowledge is our which I'm not going to steal their thunder in how they're going to show this, but the wonderful scholarship committee is doing their Disney raffle fundraiser for the year. And they'll go over all the details of that. But what I wanted to point out is They included our little PCOC Cares logo in their campaign. Why? They're going to share 50% of everything they raise with CARES. Again, what a caring industry. We have an entire committee that's going to help us help you. So I want to make sure we acknowledge them and show our appreciation for that. And I want to ask everybody here to buy the tickets, to win the Disney passes, to help CARES, and to help scholarship. So then that leaves us with what are we going to do to raise money and not compete against another fundraiser? Great minds. I think this is fun. This is our inaugural PCOC Cares Ornament campaign. This will be the first year's ornament, and in the middle we'll have our CARES logo. And I think after much deliberation, we'll have the year on there because this is going to be an annual event. We're going to order a limited number of ornaments to be sold at our December meeting in support of, if you recall last year, we introduced Cares for the Holidays, where we give out a little bit of extra help at the holidays for families in our industry or to help fund our Cares for the Holidays campaign. And then if we raise enough money to cover all the holiday requests, the rest of the money will go in towards the other awards we've already given. These beautiful ornaments, we are going to put a price tag on of $50 or more if you'd like to donate more, because this is a donation opportunity. What we want to know now is, just talking to people, we've seen a little bit of excitement about this, or, this is a fun idea, and I've gotten a few commitments. What we want to know is how many of you will commit to buying these ornaments so we know how many to order in advance before our December meeting. See, this is what I'm talking about. We have a good group of people. Order them for everybody in your office. Order them for all your customers. All of the money will go to CARES. And actually, Nick. Oh yeah, Nick is he was recording this for me. Nick was on the committee. I do want to say, now everybody's officially committed to buying more than one for your house tree, one for your office tree. With that being said, we do want to say that Ashley with Bell and Nick with Syngenta have both agreed to offset the cost of our ornaments for us for this campaign. So every penny you pay for your ornament is going straight into Cares for the Holidays. I think it's going to be fun. Then next year we'll have a different design with a different year. The hopes is you guys will be so excited you'll collect every year, and this I'm thinking is going to compete with like the Star Wars ornament sets and things that people buy. This is something to really look forward to. Now back to the financials. Now that I got your commitments, it does show here at the end of August that we were at $31,342.47. I do want to say that does not subtract off another, I think it's $5,500 in gifts going out. So you need to take that $31,000, subtract another $5,000 off. We're at about $25,000. The thing with CARES is we're limited on the size of a gift based on a percentage of what is in our account. We don't have an offshore account. We don't have a big balance. This is the money we have because it comes out of our pockets to help people in our industry. So let's help us get that money back up to where we can be of genuine help. And we do know that there are other fire victims out there that will be reaching out as well. Do you have any questions? You can read everything exactly on here that I didn't exactly verbally say. Okay, that's it.
Checking things off, we're skipping over membership committee. Nicole Keith, contractor's not here. Is that right? We're also skipping over fumigation committee as Jason Payne. Jason Payne is not here. So John, you're up with fumigation enforcement, John. Or molecule preservation.
Hey, if Lee Whitmore took as much time as he took, I'm going to take as much time as he wants.
I had to pay for that one. And I'll tell you, if you let me talk longer, I'll pay again. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the Fumigation Enforcement Committee report. I'm just going to give you, this is the end of their fiscal year. This was April, May, June. So our numbers in the fumigation program in those counties was down because of the pandemic. So I would say fumigations were off anywhere from 10 to 15%. So LA County, about 28,000 fumigations for the year, about $225,000 that program generated, 4.6% inspection rate. Let's talk a little bit about Orange County. They are 2.7%. They actually lost a couple of inspectors and were not able to replace them. 15,000 fumigations. That's per year. Yeah, this is their fiscal year. So it's about 125 grand in that county. They have a new inspector or a new commissioner in Orange County, and he's Jose Arriaga, and he's come from Contra Costa, formerly in San Diego. Kathy Keelar, who kind of ran the program in Orange County, has retired. San Diego County, inspection rate of 3.5% adjusted. Year to date, about 18,000 fumes. They normally are about 21,000 fumigations a year. So they're down about 3,000. It's about $108,000. And good old Santa Clara County, in the pandemic, they lost everybody. So everybody was pulled out to, to work in other programs. So their inspection rate for the last year and a half is 0%. They've done literally no inspections. However, the fumigators are still contributing the money. So year to date, 7,000 fumigations, $5,500 was gone over to Santa Clara County. So, what we need to look at is we've had some issues with some of the counties. San Diego doesn't really do as many inspections as they should. LA County, they're not really taking a lot of input. When we originated this program, there was a couple of things. We have an opportunity to sit down at the table, right, and discuss violations and how it should be enforced. What was the other thing that we wanted them to do? Cite the licensees rather than the companies. And that's not happening in San Diego County and not so much in Santa Clara. The guy that is the new commissioner in Orange County, he originated from San Diego County. So that may spread to Orange County. So we have to look very seriously. This program will, if we didn't do anything, would sunset next year. So we have to make a decision. Are we going to allow it to sunset? We're going to keep it going. I think there's going to have to be a lot of dialogue and a lot of really frank and honest discussion with the counties as to how they're performing. We're coming out of 2 years of pandemic, and I think they're ready to gear up, I hope. So hopefully things will improve, but the program would sunset next year. The other things that I think we wanted to talk about, we've spent a lot of time about the EPA stuff. All the letters have gone in. There's been about 125 letters that have gone into EPA. It's going to take quite a bit of time for EPA to look that stuff over. I don't see any changes happening this year, and probably would be the middle of next summer to the end of 22 before we actually got any new labels. So I don't think we will be impacted all that much. A lot of the recommendations, a lot of the things the OIG put in the report that EPA recommended were really kind of the standard things that we were already doing in California. So for the most part, a few tweaks here and there, I think we're going to be fine overall. So on the reevaluation of sulfurofluoride in California, really, we've tried to do our tour, have not been able to get DPR to be able to travel because of the pandemic. They've had a huge turnover. They're still working on the modeling. They are going to request, I don't know if this is their second or third extension, 2-year extension from the legislature. So it was supposed to be finalized by the end of this year. They're going for 2 more years. So sometime maybe in 22, they'll actually deal with some of this stuff. But at this point, they're still at a 0.75 endpoint, which would significantly impact our ability to fumigate. The last item is we've got some issues with LA County, who are starting to impact some of our operators, commodity fumigators in the port of Los Angeles. So brown marmorated stink bugs. So there's a quarantine on goods that go to Australia. So any goods that are exported there between September and March, that's the season. The stink bug is an agricultural pest, but during that time of the year, they seek harborage. And so they're more of a nuisance pest. And so this dilemma has forced LA County, they want to interpret it as an agricultural pest, therefore agricultural use, which would mean it would be done under an ag license, and they want the operators to use Profume. Profume in California, same molecule as Vicane, would require permits, buffer zones, limitations on shipping containers which can be fumigated. One of the key operators would only be able to do 4 per day. With Vicane, which is not a permit material, he can do up to 40 containers a day. So there's quite a difference. So LA County is forcing the issue with DPR. Chris Reardon and I have been meeting almost weekly in conversation with DPR. And when we started, they had issued an enforcement letter making Vicane essentially illegal to be used in California for stink bugs, which is ridiculous. There's a federal label, right? It's a use pattern, you know, everywhere. And they were going to eliminate that use. So I think maybe we've swayed a couple of them, Chris, at this point, but we're getting close. We've got a couple more to convince, but LA County is fighting hard to eliminate Vicane use on stink bugs. And if they get their way, and that's actually brought in, that'll eliminate all stink bug fumigations in California. We won't be able to do them under the particular conditions that they want them done. So that's kind of my report at this point. And are there any questions? All right, I appreciate it. It's good seeing everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Rodenticide Task Force, Sylvia Kenyer, I believe you have a report. Come on down. West Coast, Rodenticide Academy, and Professional Limited Investment.
Yeah, it's the helium hand. That's how you get to be on here 3 times. Okay, I was just told by a good friend, say no. All righty, so the Rodenticide Task Force. Wow, I'm loud. Okay, go here. We had a great meeting last week where we talked a little bit about some of the things and that we need to do with California coastal. And it comes back over and over again, and you've heard this in other meetings. It's we need to be looked at as an industry more positively. So how do we do that? And the way you do that is you have marketing, you have a PR firm. And if you look at your pages and you go through them, you will see there is no line item for PR. None. When that group gets up here to talk, they're going to tell you they have no money. They're looking for freebies. They're looking for people who have a little bit of a time, and maybe they'll create a flyer. We've done that in the past. Maybe someone can go make photocopies, and that's our PR. And so we really need to look at that as a group and make a decision. Do we hire somebody like PPMA to represent us? Do we hire a marketing thing? So one of the things that we're asking, because it's something we need to move forward, is for the PR group to hire to create a task force to figure out, if we hire a PR company, what is it going to cost us? What can they do for us? Hey, can they give members a discount? Maybe you need something. Hey, how do we reach the millennial groups? How do we reach the 20-year-olds? That's important moving forward. And we can always talk about this and tired of getting our butts kicked over these laws and tired of getting beat up. But if we're not offensive, we're always going to be defensive, right? And so we've got to change that. And so I don't know where that money comes from. Sure, we can, I mean, maybe it's a line item on your dues. Someone suggested that. Maybe we have a donation button. Maybe we can ask bigger companies. We can ask affiliates. There's a lot of places. But it starts with looking at this budget to figure out how important PR is and where we can fit it in. Okay, and so we are making a formal request for that to happen. And we are asking the PR group to please put a task force together. I will be happy to have that conversation with you, because for the task force for rodenticides to move forward, we need people to actually like us. Like today with that story with the PMP, it was the first time I've heard it today, was that PMP from Dewey, right? Why is that not out in the media? It's a terrible thing, but we did a great thing there. And so how do we get that out so people look at us differently, right? We don't want to be at that meeting where it's like, you know, children for this and monarchs for that, and then we're like pest control, pest control, pest control. We need other people to care about that. So we had some good suggestions. We'll keep taking it up and we'll keep doing it, but we are asking the PR group to please put a task force together, and we'd be happy to help you, Ralph and Blair, figure out what it's going to cost and who it's going to be the right candidate, and then we'll figure out a way to pay for it. I don't know what that answer is right now, okay? But that's what we talk about at Rodenticide Task Force. The manufacturers agree. We don't want to lose our products, Jim, to your point. But we also got to figure out how we help ourselves as well, okay? And so that's really what we talked about at Task Force. West Coast Rodent Academy, the dates are the 27th and the 28th. Okay, so if you don't have that date, those are the 27th and the 28th of October. And PCOC members, again, $89 for you, $109 for everybody else. Registration open today. So we'll get that link to Sarah so that she can get it out to you. It is virtual for October, and then we'll be live in March. Fingers crossed and toes and ups. Yeah. Okay, is there any questions for Rodenticide Task Force? Can I do PWIPM too? Okay, so I'm PWIPM. I'm also the new person for Women in Pest Management, and I actually asked for this one. So Dean will tell you, I asked for this one. And so we have some exciting things that we're going to do. So I want to tell you that, first of all, we had a lot of people in our meeting, and we talked about things like, hey, we need like resources for you guys when you hire women techs that would have pants and shirts that button the right way, because apparently you boys button your shirts the wrong way. And we button our shirts a different way, if you didn't know that. We do. And so, you know, we talked about some of those fun things. And so look for early December. We're going to get something out to you in the next couple of weeks. We are going to have a webinar, a lunch hour webinar, and it's going to be on difficult conversations. And some of us are going to sponsor some books and get that out. But we want to support your technicians if they're female, even if they're not female and they have difficult conversations. We want to support them as well. We're going to look at some mentoring programs where maybe we connect women with, you know, that have been around for a while with women that are just new in the industry and some of the difficult things that they deal with. And then we also talked about maybe putting some training toolbox curriculums that will help them in small bites on how to deal with just daily things. So we have a lot of training on our board, and that's what I'm hoping we're going to do. And next time we'll see you will be in December, but look for that webinar coming out for you guys. It'll be $20 donation for PCOC and $30 for non-members. Okay? Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Sylvia. We do not have a building committee report, I don't think. Oh, we do. We are having, okay. Then, nice.
I just heard from Jim.
I'll get the thunder out. Don't worry. We'll get it down. All right. Great to see everyone. Welcome to Carlsbad. Well, being on the building committee, thanks to Tom for putting me there. My first task was get on the roof and get the garden out of it, right? The roof had weeds growing out of the, drains up on the roof, so we cleaned that all up. There are some things to do around the building. There's some dry rot issues, but we're going to tackle that later on. But if I lean on you guys in the Sacramento Valley area, get ready to come help, all right? Because we're going to need some help down there. As far as the moving and all that, that's still under works. Sacramento is depressed down in the Sacramento capital area. It's a mess, right? There's hardly anything open. We can get great rates on buildings. We've looked at 4 potential sites. We've put an offer in on one of them, which is pending on the lease of our building. So we're still in the works on that, and more to follow and more to come as the committee, gears up for that. Okay, let's. We do
not have an advisory or nomination, so you can stay up here for scholarship.
How about scholarship? Yes. Well, we put to get the sites, you have to put, do we want to get in there and do it? One is on J Street. It's got parking. It's a pretty nice spot. There's no money involved. No hands are not signing any deals. But it gets us in the door just in case we rent or, we get that building taken care of. So it's just one potential site.
They're about ready to start a 3 to 5 year remodel of the Capitol building. So they're moving all the offices about 2 blocks away to the south. That factory is our choice of proximity is what we're doing for the next 5 years. Offices are spread out.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if that's affecting lease opportunities or where we might go.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the move on that part of it, and I'm sure that we can venture out into that arena, and go that direction.
Some of the office space we're looking at, or considering, is in around, effectively across the street from the Capitol, close to the Capitol, where a lot of other folks are. For example, one of the spaces is not far from the governor's offices. So, Jim, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it's still relatively close. And we're going to see everyone else have to do this as well. So if we can work out an agreement, see when we get this far, work out an agreement, it's beneficial to us. If it happens to be in that neighborhood, I wouldn't want to venture any further the other way, or the other way too. But I still think it's a reasonable area to be located, assuming we work out an agreement.
I think that north side's better because it puts you between DPR and the Capitol.
I was just going to say we have DPR there as well too. It puts us almost, it's a perfect location of our list.
Yeah, so we'll be moving forward on that as the months go on, and we'll get some more information out there to all of you. All right, moving on to scholarship. If you could turn to your pink sheets, it's looking pretty darn good there. Taking over the scholarship fund, didn't have much money in it until, I got some big shoes to fill in this scholarship committee role. And, going down the line as we look at the monies, $470 in the asset column, $300 in receivables, $471,000. That's a lot of money in there for giving to kids, and it's going to be fun year this year. Equity is $272.93. Bless you. Going again? All right. Where I want to stop is the $198,000 there of income, net income for the period. And part of that was a generous donation from Pat Clark of $150,000. And I'll just elaborate just a little bit on Pat. When I first got into PCOC, he was kind of one of my, guys who took me under his wing, and he just had such an inspiration to the scholarship fund, and we all had fun. The reverse raffles and Harley Davidsons and bass boats and all kinds of stuff. That was fun. Anybody win anything off that? What'd you win? All right. Well, the goal here is to get back to another reverse raffle at some point during my, committee chairmanship here. Pat also loved the kids. That was his biggest passion, was the kids. And we need to get back to the kids. We only had 11 scholarship applications last year. I know it was a tough year, but, we need 10 to 30. We've had 36 scholarships to go over, and that's a pretty good chore for the committee. And, so we're going to hopefully get back to that. Reach out to your families, friends, that really, we need these kids in this industry, and to hopefully, think of us once they get done with their college. So reach out this year, and let's see if we can build that up. One quick story. I just can't get this for Pat. We went to the Universal Sheraton in Universal City. And I don't know who in this room was at that, but I was out front by the entrance to the hotel, and all of a sudden, all these police cars come rolling up, and like, what's going on? And then these hot cars come rolling up after that, right? And here's Wesley Snipes walking in from the entourage there. And then the Dalai Lama is coming into the building. I don't know if you guys all knew that, but that was pretty cool to see that going on. And then the next thing you know, here's this green Cadillac come rolling up, and Pat gets out with his entourage and comes walking up, his kids in tow. And, that was, he thought he was just the king with all the police cars and everything. That was really funny. But what a great guy. I miss him, sorry, I missed the funeral. I've just been busy. But anyway, a wonderful man. Shall we move on? Here we go.
So I met Pat Clark when he was president. He came to the Vintage Coastal District, and he was the nicest, friendliest guy that I've ever met. Played golf with him. I think I was the last time he played golf in Palm Springs. I played with him, Barbara and I. He was a wonderful man. In memory of Pat Clark, Vintage Coastal would like to donate $250 in his memory.
Wow, thank you. That's all it takes. Oh, he's got the big brother on you. We're going to give out 10 scholarships now. And with the fourth one, or the biggest one, at $4,000 for the Pat Clark Memorial Scholarship Award. That'll be, really help out a small, a person in college for sure. Like to have my committee stand so you'll know who to go to for tickets and so forth as we come. Our newest member, Andy Moreno, welcome. Travis. Mike McKenzie. He's probably on the Zoom, right? And one of the person that's done a really fabulous job is Jackie Clark. She's a go-to. So we're going to really work hard this year. We're going to lean on you a little bit, to try and help the fund out. But moving forward, we are going to Disneyland. So as Christine mentioned earlier, we are going to split the profits with the CARES Corporation or the CARES Committee and build that up. I left my phone on my table back there, but there's a QR or a code. Once you get into there, a QL code will come up, and super easy to buy your tickets. Get out and do that right away. And then in December, we're going to do some fun table 50-50. I've got some things up my sleeve there that we're going to try and work out, and hopefully we'll raise a little money and have some fun. But $471,000. You guys have your sheets in front of you. It's a wonderful cause. Oh, I do have my phone. Oh, here it is. Get the code, right? If anybody wants to come up and scan it, they certainly can. But Jackie's got it on her machine back there too. So make that happen. And with that, thank you.
We didn't ask for any questions, right?
Any questions?
What's the cost per ticket and what's the price?
Well, you'll have to go on and check it out, Bill. So there's a Jackie $25 ticket. Hop. Right. Right. So we'll be able to have some families have some fun there. Yes, Tom.
Is the QR code, is that online? Can that be found on our website?
Not yet. But it's going to be, it'll be a blast out in your email. So look for it to come from Sarah. And any other questions? Applications? Okay, yes. Scholarship applications we want in by the 31st of March, but they'll be available online again. So make sure you get online and get them sent back in right away. And more than 10 hopefully this year. Hopefully we'll get 30 again we can look over. But it's a great cause, a great team. And love PCOC, and you guys are all doing a great job. Thank you so much.
And now I'd like to call up our affiliate representative, Chad Estrada.
Good afternoon. I know what you guys are thinking. Who's the child up there in the suit? It's not. Bring your kid to work day to day. My name is Chaz. I'm your affiliate representative. I think Doug was being groomed for this position, so it's an honor for me to be up here for the first time. I mean, I was affiliate rep last year under Tom as well, but I was also not wearing pants during those meetings. Doug, I can't figure out how you escaped California and decided to come back. And I think it's probably because you were dodging this position. So again, thank you for the honor, man. But I did want to, on a more serious note, kind of touch base on our PR committee a little bit. I can't stress enough how daunting of a task that is for anybody that takes up that committee. I have a huge amount of respect for the people that show up in that room. I would say it's probably one of the least attended committees with our association, period. And I do believe it has the impact or the ability to impact our association in the greatest way. So I would invite everyone in this room, come Palm Springs, to come drop by that room and give us your thoughts and what you think we could be doing better. And we'll take your feedback and we'll run with it. We love it. But I don't think we've really got it as much as we really need. And I would invite anybody that has feedback to join that meeting. So without further ado, I will bring up Blair, and I would like everyone to put hands together.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you guys out there. So we already got a little bit of an introduction lead into the PR committee. And of course, by now you guys hopefully are all thinking again of how important this committee is. So even though our committee is small, we are mighty. We had a really productive meeting this morning, and we're really excited to see, what's in store for as we wrap up this year and move into 2022. It was great to hear what Dean was sharing earlier in his president's message, because most of our discussion really mirrored what he talked about. And one of those things, and our discussion really did shift over to more of the membership recruitment and retention conversation, because every single time we throw out a post on the Facebook page, which again, I can totally own the fact that we need to do a lot more of that. It's not just a like or a share, it's how is that actually translating into what we are seeing in our organization. So our discussion was really right on the money there from a membership perspective. And of course, Sylvia caught me in the hall as we got out of the meeting to also discuss this entire other side that we recognize, our legislative advocacy. So as you can see, this committee is really evolving. When I remember when I saw, Chaz really build our committee up, and it was great to have Chaz in there. He has the experience of being a leader of the PR committee, but now sitting on the executive team can kind of see the different priorities. And, when it comes to PR, we're really going to need to shift our perspective on what this committee does from, sharing a video, that Foster helps us collect or create here and there and a few projects a year, to protecting the future of our industry. And, our demographic in our meeting was a bit younger, and I look out and, look ahead into PCOC and wonder what it will be like when I've been here 30, 40 years throughout my career. So again, I just ask you guys to all think of that, because once we, create this task force and really look at next steps and ask for that financial commitment, really is that option of, we're not all social media gurus. A few of us are. Adam is famous on TikTok, and Chaz is pretty good on social media as well. But everything that you have seen from the PR committee has been done from volunteers, really out of the goodness of their heart. So with all of that, we will do our due diligence to really see next steps and how we reframe this committee and what our responsibilities are. But I did want to make a quick note as well. If you guys remember back to last meeting, we had discussed a video project we were working on, but I didn't get a chance to thank those people who worked on this project yet. So when I call your name, just go ahead and stand up, and we'll save the applause till the end. So Adam Holt. Sterling Barber, is Sterling here? No. Mary Hernandez. Jim Steed. Sean Bradley. Ralph Reese. And Foster Kruska. So make sure before the end of the day you stop in to tell these wonderful people thank you. One of the big goals that Ralph had before he left as my co-chair for this new term was to produce a video resource. And of course, 2020 and then therefore 2021 being the years that it's been, we ran into another snag. We've gotten some feedback to divide out those videos, and also Karen was a part of those videos. She's no longer here. So we're going to switch out some of that content with some other PCOC folks, and that'll be my Christmas present to you, is to get those videos completed and able to share. So a few other, what I would call our low-hanging fruit goals of PR. Of course, we really have this overarching, beast of a conversation we need to have in terms of what PR looks like moving forward. But for now, we're really excited. We can actually share pictures that aren't just a screen grab of all your faces on Zoom, on the Facebook, and on our social media. So if you are, a district chair or really in any district that's doing any event, really try and snag those pictures. I'm going to be reaching out to those folks to, get some of that content rolling in so we can share it. And again, all of that really adds up and builds a story that we're trying to present, that this is the value of our districts. This is the value of our organization, so we can keep it strong with our membership. So thanks to all who showed up today. We had some new faces in there, and we're hoping, next time in December to have a much larger showing at our PR committee meeting. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Blair. So the affiliate committee did meet. That is hard, but I guess that's why I'm up here, right? That's really a time for affiliates to kind of come together and speak with this without repercussion. So if you're not an affiliate, I would love to maybe chat with you outside and take your questions or opinions. But if we could just keep that kind of as close as possible to affiliates, just so that there's how do I put this? I don't want any opinions suppressed for whatever various political reasons, right? It would help a ton. We did talk about some of the different value-added sponsorships that we have. As far as this board of directors, the feedback was very, very good. A lot of the vendors that participated, whether they spoke tonight or whether they've had a booth outside, it seemed to be pretty well received. And so I think, we'd probably be doing that again in Palm Springs. Speaking of Palm Springs, I do need a show of hands, and I don't everyone do it at once, but a show of hands on who we can get and who we can count on. Dependable people only, probably is what I'm looking for T sponsors.
That's none of us.
T sponsors for the golf tournament. There we go. Mr. Branca. There we go. Nick Branca Bell. There we go. Sarah's writing diligently. Looks like we got Cardinal in the back. Thrasher. San Diego Certus. Love it.
San Diego.
Certus. Cool. All right. And that's all I have. So with that, I will call on Second Vice President Dave Watkins. Thank you.
Good afternoon. At this time, I'd like to call Termite Committee Chair Garrett Thrasher.
Mom, wake up. There you go. All right. That was awesome. So, the fumigation committee has always been the most important committee of the entire room, but I would beg to offer that it all starts with an ID, right? Like without the termite, branch 3s, the fumigators couldn't do their jobs unless they were licensed in both. So that leads me to our first topic with the Termite Academy. I'm quite proud. It's our second year in the books, and I don't think Sarah gets enough recognition for how much she did for that. And Sarah, you hooked it up this year. Like, amazing job. Thank you. I don't really have a boss except for, the women in my life, but, Sarah's like, hey, we should probably, get this together. And we got at least, close to 90 people virtually, and it went off without a hitch. 2022 looks like it's going to be another virtual meeting. But we're excited to have a few more people involved instead of, Sarah and Chris and Mike. I don't know where he's at, but, we want to bring the termite committee into that kind of, position of what we can continue with developing topics and stuff. So, obviously there's a very important part of the termite committee with, the continuance of the academy, and it's quite exciting. Part of that, hopefully we'll get some more information about baiting, which doesn't sound very fun or cool. But Formosan termites are here, right? They've been discovered in LA County, Riverside County, San Diego. If you don't know about them, you should really try and figure out how to make your inspectors aware of Formosan termite. So Dr. Chow Yang Lee has done several chats with us, and they go to Santa Barbara all the way to the border, and you can guarantee that if you miss them, you're going to be in some big trouble. And it's exciting and it's scary at the same time. But for me, it's like a new bug. Like, what else can you get more excited about? Like, what do we live for? New bugs, So, thirdly is the car liaison position. Kind of fell off a little bit, but in the committee, we decided that we have to get back on that program. So, with the help of the committee and the board, we'd like to get back on track with that. They meet 3 times a year. We need to have, the dialogue continue between PCOC and the realtors. Realtors are the most important people in the entire world. Yes. Lastly, shameless plug. I never thought I'd get so excited about a friend running for Congress, but Chris has really made it exciting for me to really get engaged or just being a part of PCOC. So our friend, his name is Richard Bailey. He's the mayor of Coronado. He's running for the 52nd Congressional District, and I think he's an up-and-coming person. If you guys don't know his name, now you do. But, it's really fun to know somebody that wants to be president. And I'm excited to have him part of the group to come here. He said he'd come for a hot dog. They'd speak anywhere. So that's amazing. But lastly, I'm upset because I missed baseball practice with my kids tonight. But there's lightning, so it's canceled. Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon. Very good to see you guys all. It is so nice to be in person. I think the thing I miss the most about being on Zoom instead of in person is everyone was still generous online, but there's just something cool about seeing all the hands go up. We just did probably $1,000 to $2,000 there at $50 a piece for the ornament, and then the tea sponsors, and it's just really cool to be with you guys and see that again in person. So. The other thing I love is leadership, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Reardon about the Leadership Academy.
Yeah, just a quick heads up. I'm actually finishing for Mike McKinney today, but Mike wanted to let everyone know we are actually in the process of completing our online leadership course with Government and Professional Leadership, and I thought we would do before sort of get a sense of where we are on that. Jim Steve, who was actually participating on that online course with Government and has really chat with us a few minutes about giving us some impressions about it. We're going to be soon asking those of you who want to do it next year to participate. And I thought this might be a good opportunity for Jim, who's actually doing it, to talk a little bit about what he's got on so far. Jim?
Thanks. This leadership opportunity, the class, when Mike first pitched it, I thought it was a good idea, but quite frankly, I supported it because I told Mike I'd support him as the president since I was outgoing. And but he was pretty convinced that this was valuable stuff. And Mike's a pretty solid guy. So, I embarked kind of on faith on my relationship with Mike and his opinion. And I stand here today to tell you he was absolutely right. I have a singular regret about this leadership course, and that is I took it when I'm 52. I should have had it when I was 32. And so this leadership course has been worth every penny, and my poor junior partner up there has already been put on notice. that he's closer to 32 than me, so he probably is going to participate coming up. But I just want you to know that it has brought focus and mobility and movement to the company that I've been a part of now myself for 29 years and has been around since 78, that has already paid excellent dividends and returns in the first year. So I strongly recommend any of you that are out there, for yourself, any young manager that you might have, if you take this course and at the end of it you don't find it completely compelling, I might almost be willing to pay you your money back. You will not regret it. I can promise you that. I look forward to us adding this as a dimension to the leadership that we cultivate within PCOC. And I also look forward to the return of our leadership development that we've done for our district leaders as well. I really see the future of Leadership Academy being a combination of both. It's not just how we run a district and those mechanics, which I think are really important, but it's how to run any organization with focus and effectiveness. So if you're thinking about it, please give it some consideration. I promise you, you will not regret it, and it exceeded my expectations by far. Thanks.
Garland. Okay, so just real quick, just to kind of reiterate what Jim has said, I had the pleasure of being in the Regional Mentor Development Program with Rollins, and one of our leaders is Garland Vance. And he and I have talked over the last year a lot about leadership, and I can pretty much guarantee Jim is not going to have to reimburse anyone. He is a fantastic guy, so I would absolutely endorse it. I believe that we have already done the Legislative Committee and Pcoc Committee. Nothing else on either of those, correct? All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Secretary Sean Bradley.
Thanks, Travis. First off, I just want to say thank you to Dean for inviting me to the secretary position. I really appreciate it. And when he asked me, I said, man, my only reservation is kid. I got young boys that are in sports. So that's the only thing that and I think a lot of you folks have gone through that and experienced that. So other than that, I made the commitment to be here and I really appreciate it. And Dean's done a great job. So, and I'm the last guy up here. So, and there's nobody behind me. So I'll try to make this quick. I got a ton of content here. And I'll try to make it as brief as I can. I'll start off with AB 1788, and that's kind of dominated discussion in our committee for the last year and a half. At this point, I think it's mostly in our rearview mirror. I followed up with Josh Hunzinger with Placer County Ag, and it's pretty much the same thing as he said before. Not aware of any enforcement or any citations or anything written for that in the state. So that's basically, I think, and I asked folks there in the committee in the room if they've had any experience with any sort of enforcement or the ag department being involved, and I think it's not really a focus for them. So that's the feedback that I've received as of late. He did bring up a case in Colusa County. It's a packing company in Williams, and they have these man-made wooden bins where they store their tomato products, and they want an exemption for ag for that, and they were denied by DPR. So, and they were trying to use fast draw soft bait with the ag exemption, and they wrote to Valdez at the time, and it came back, and they weren't allowed to do that. So that sets a little bit of precedent. So I know folks that are working in, they were not considered agriculture. Let me see here. What was the response from DPR was labeled as a law. Since the tomato paste bins contain a stored processed product at a non-ag site, they cannot be considered man-made ag structures. So just to be aware of that, that's being discussed at the county level and with DPR. Josh also mentioned the increase in mill tax for the ag commissioners, which will result in about 10 million in additional funds. He said they're not really going to move that to hire any more employees. Rather, they thought of some programs. One was to create a regional cleanup program that would probably be more geared towards the ag side. But he said, they would also incorporate that for us to be able to recycle any old product that you might be holding on to. Also, with Josh in the past, we did a virtual truck inspection or a site inspection or a application inspection. And that went really well. We had over 100 people on the call. So we're going to do the same thing for a virtual headquarters inspection. And we're working to do that before the end of the year. So, and like we did before, we'd like to send the invite out to all of PCOC. So not just the Big Valley District be involved in that. And then most of our conversation for the committee was centered around, which was mentioned before by Darren, the Ventura County Planning Commission hearing in August. And I don't know how many of you had a chance to watch the video, but I referred to it, and I just want to point out a couple cringe-worthy quotes that I saw, and it had me shaking my head, and I'm sure you all be doing the same. And this is from folks on the commission. Quote, "We need to do something, even if it is imperfect and even if it is hard. It is doable." And one person said, "I honestly don't know enough about pesticides in the whole area that we're regulating to know the best way to clarify. No law has to be perfect." And then one guy was trying to refer to insecticide, and he said, "Oh, basically Roundup stuff." So, all of us, we all had the same reaction. We're like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. And then Joel Schulman came on the call from Poison Free Malibu, and basically presented his case, and their lawyer came on right after that. So it's almost like they're working in unison together on these, trying to amend these regulations with semantics. It seems like they're just trying to change some words around and make it work for them, and it's effective, And unfortunately, we weren't in the room and we didn't even know about it. So I think that's what the legislative committee is going to work on, and how we're going to address that. And General Pest Committee is going to be there to support them any way we can, and figure out the best way to do that. But for me, it was an eye opener. I'm not usually involved in this, those sort of meetings virtually or even there, but it's definitely an eye opener to see how that that all went down, and how. And by the way, they said they had over 100 letters in support, from multiple agencies and just citizens, right? So they referred to numerous agencies, State Senator Henry Stern, National Park Service, Santa Monica Mountains Fund, and Center for Biological Diversity, among others. So, they read all those off, and it seems pretty impressive to those folks on the commission. But anyhow, just it was an eye opener for me, and hopefully for others in the future, and kind of let us know what we need to do going forward. So, any comments, questions? I appreciate your time. Thank you guys.
A great job, Sean. At this time, do we have any old business or unfinished business? Sorry. Jim.
Dean, I just want to ask real quick, I took a look at the numbers here for our membership. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes.
Are we down to 255 members over last year?
Yes.
And these are just members who have chosen to cancel.
Well,
you got to remember, September is only a couple of months after the building went out. Most of that is due to not getting the dues. You'll catch a lot of that up like December. That's the hope.
That's the hope. Not everyone pays right on within those 3 month time frame. So, fair reminder to do that. It takes some time to do it. We get the bulk in, but we still have stuff coming in.
We have we had the mergers and some of those that ended the mergers and acquisitions. We did have a handful of companies. Sarah said that I'm not paying these outrageous dues, and they sent their money back and canceled, or sent their slips back and canceled. That's something that we've talked about, and we need to really work on finding out why, retaining those people. Yeah, it's a problem. I saw that and I didn't like it. Yeah, relaying the importance, and getting somebody in there that has, is going to be able to recruit membership. So, got a lot. Yes. Any other? No, hey Jim, I saw it too, and I went, what is this? Yeah, you're right. The numbers, with the increase in dues, the numbers do look better, but we still need people, right? We need members, and that's really important. The money's just not everything. So, any other unfinished business? All right, hearing none. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Rylan, and second, Bobby Gordon. Got that? Any? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.